Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Let's talk about the desecration of our veterans. And now I know I will, from time to time, criticize things that are going on in the government, things that are happening with the military, but those comments and suggestions and complaints are waged against the people way up top, the brass who are giving these guys these very, sometimes unethical orders, these very questionable things to go out there and do. You know, I'm not a big fan of them, doing a lot of domestic training, but really when it comes to things like Jade Helm isn't the thing that really concerns me the most, because yes, they are operating in various cities in Texas. I believe Big Spring, Texas gave the military the go-ahead to come through their town. It's not so much that, because there is plenty of open Texas desert that they can go and train in. Things that concern me is when they have to train domestically. They go and train in cities like Miami, Florida. What cave in Afghanistan looks like downtown Miami, Florida? What desert in Iraq looks like Minneapolis, Minnesota, also running drills in San Diego, California? Those are the things that concern me. Like, why you guys have to train in these big metropolitan cities like that? It doesn't look anything like the places that you're planning to go, at least that you tell us that you're planning to go. But that's a very long-winded way to say that even though I don't always support the orders that our troops are giving, I do support our troops. And I want them to have the best things for them when they come back home. For example, you go out there and you fight for your country, then you come back home to a place like Fort Hood, and they're telling you can't worship the God you want. Or you come back here to the state of Texas, like if you're C.J. Grisham, and you're walking around, hey, I fought for my Second Amendment rights. They say, no, sir, you cannot own a gun. You cannot walk freely down the street with your firearm in the United States of America. And I think that is just plain wrong. We need to support our veterans when we come home. We just need to question some of these orders that they're given. And now in a Michigan town, it was controversial to put up a war memorial for our veterans, which was completely ridiculous to me, because they say it's controversial to put up a statue of a gun in a boot because somebody in the council thought it was inappropriate to show a gun.
It's a symbol universally understood as one that honors fallen heroes.
They used a gun, a pair of boots, and a helmet, just like the memorial we are trying to set up.
But some on the council have questioned whether the representation of a weapon is appropriate for the park. Any uncertainty about how the public feels was erased in less than 2 hours by the dozens who showed strong support here.
And it's mind-boggling to me that we will send our young men and women to fight overseas, but then when we have them come back home and they want to set up a memorial that depicts, lo and behold, a firearm, that's too controversial. We can't have that here. Our military veterans do go out there and use firearms. They do wear boots and dog tags and helmets and such. So I'm not sure why this would be viewed as controversial, but regardless, it was approved and luckily sanity prevailed. It reminds me of that, I can't recall where it was, but it was some city council. A gentleman walked in there. He was a veteran, honorably discharged, and he's up there talking, and someone said, "Excuse me, sir, are you packing a pistol?" He said, "Yeah, I'm, combat veteran, served my country." And one of the councilmen says, "Oh man, I can't stay in here. This guy has a gun." And everybody's like, "Well, you don't want to stay here, you can leave." I mean, it's this type of stuff. We will celebrate these guys. We'll put them in the Super Bowl halftime shows and the USAA commercials and all that stuff. But just basic stuff like this, getting medical care, having a memorial, being able to worship your God and own your firearms, that's just too much for some people in the United States of America. And while we're talking about our veterans and their firearms, VA sends veterans medical info to FBI to get their guns taken away. And this is basically a report obtained by the Daily Caller. And they point out a document dated February 22nd, 2012, and it makes clear that the VA must send health information to the FBI for its background check database. So it's the NICS system. So basically, if you go and purchase a firearm right now, you have to go through the NICS system if you go to a FFL dealer, some places like Cabela's or any other place that sells firearms. So now they're giving your personal information if you're a veteran, if you have financial difficulties, or as the article says, veterans deemed mentally incompetent or financially incapable, they have to go through this system and potentially use their firearms. And I believe it was a senator or congressman, something like that. He said our veterans should not lose their constitutional rights to bear arms because they can't balance their checkbooks. And I do agree. That does not make you a danger to society. You spent years fighting for your country overseas using your firearms. You should be able to have one when you come back home. But the degradation of our military does not end there. And now we have the article, U.S. Army forces cadets to wear high heels to promote feminist campaign. So basically, in this man's army, you are now forced to walk around in high heels like the Wicked Witch of the West. And this is somehow supposed to make you a better soldier and make you better capable to deal with females, I guess, in your everyday life, which does not make sense to me because we do see accusations of false rape. I'm not saying they're rampant, but they do happen. But you don't force women to run around wearing jock straps to have male sensitivity week. Not at all. And when we talk about these guys walking around in their red heels, let's show people the image so they make sure we're not blowing smoke. Do you think when ISIS looks at that, they're shaking in their boots? They're probably laughing around, about to urinate on themselves, servicing these pictures back and forth. They probably have it on Twitter, probably printed it out and on the wall and, using it as a dartboard and all that stuff. This is what's going on. Our foreign aggressors, which ISIS, yeah, of course, we gave them the grenades, but they don't like us nonetheless. And now they have this stuff to laugh at us, and it's demoralizing. Who wants to walk around in some high heels? Hey, if you do that in your own personal time, that's your business, but you should not be forced, and that's what these gentlemen are saying in this report. And we also had another gentleman who contacted Paul Joseph Watson and said he was forced to do a similar thing back in 2011. So this is going on, and like I said, I don't always agree with every decision our military makes, but we shouldn't force our veterans to be demoralized into wearing high heels. And while we're talking about this and this rape culture and rape sensitivity, Joe Biggs got a message today, and we're going to go out to break on this. We'll come back with more special reports from John Bound and so forth. He got contacted by one of his friends in the military during a sensitivity training class, and you won't believe what he saw. Let's go to this video, and we'll be back right after this break.
It was just yesterday we had a couple of articles about how kindergarten and primary people. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this is Joe Biggs. Guess what? So my buddy is at a sexual harassment training course right now with the U.S. Army, and he took a picture of the slideshow, so we're going to put it up real quick. It says, tip number 3, if you pull over to help someone whose car has broken down, remember not to rape them. This is real. You can't make this up. This is the actual slide at the sexual harassment training the U.S. Army is doing. So not only do we have to walk around like a bunch of pansies in red high heels, but just in case we forgot that if we pull over to help someone, make sure don't rape them.
Okay. I've got that on my list. I've got that on my tip list. Unbelievable. Yeah. Essentially portraying everybody as a rapist is what they're implying there, talking down to them. But, it was just yesterday that we had a couple of articles about how kindergarten teachers were sexualizing their kids, teaching them about homosexuality, teaching them about transsexuality, cross-dressing, and all that sort of thing. This is a Brave New World agenda. It's not just 1984. We've got both of these things going on at the same time. And I don't think it's appropriate to to have a stranger talking to my kids about any kind of sex in kindergarten. That's absolutely ridiculous. So it's not just the colleges, it's not just the military. That's where they have control over people. It's within the schools, within the colleges, within the military. They can say, you're out of here if you don't do what we say because we're going to end your career. We're not going to pass you in this test. That's the kind of leverage that they have over people. And of course, now that we have a volunteer professional army, that's a lot of leverage to have over people that they didn't have before when they were just pulling people up as they needed them for a war.
The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit ancientdefense.com or call 888-253-3139. ancientdefense.com.